Hello, welcome to the last session of the day. Before we get into the real excitement, I've got some slightly different excitement for you. We have the exhibitor passport prizes to give out. Now, are we ready to go? Okay, now this one's sponsored by Carbon Black. Oh wow, a Garmin Vivo Smart HR exercise monitor. And that is Dawood Iqbal. I'm so sorry if I didn't pronounce that right. Is that person here? Yes, please come on up. If you could just go over and seat back. All right, next one. One Identity has sponsored a Tello 5MP RC drone with a camera. Mark Lafan. Rigged. Please go and see back. Okay, next one is from Cofence, and this is a Google Home. I'm sure there's no security vulnerabilities in that. That is Ben Bryzak. Next, from Proficio, a Google Home Mini. Christy Lim. Cool. Next, ALC have also sponsored a Google Home Mini. Victor Bradbury. Not here? Alrighty, we'll make sure he gets that. Now, AUSCERT is sponsoring a registration for next year, now that we know that that conference is approved and ready to go. So we'll be back here this same time next year. Now, that's been won by Adam Hay. Is Adam here? Not here? All right, we'll make sure that gets to Adam. Okay, that's the end of the prizes. So let's get into the speed debate. So I'm not going to do the introduction. We've actually got someone much more qualified and entertaining than me to do this. So if someone could wheel him out, please.
Edward Snowden.
Well, hello. AUSCERT2018. Don't you all look lovely? This is the weirdly disembodied head of Adam Spencer, thanks to the good people at drivedoublerobotics.com. I'm as weirded out by this as you are, but we're going to attempt to do the annual speed debate with me chairing it from a distance, taking over for the moment from the wonderfully talented Darren. Let's have a round of applause for how good Darren's been emceeing the conference so far. Now, I'll be honest with you, Darren, my old friend, I've got no idea if you've been any good or not. I'm assuming you've done a bang-up job, but I have no way of knowing if that's the case, though the audience applause did seem both generous and genuine. Quick show of hands if you haven't been to the speed debate before, if you've got no idea what's about to take place. Right, well, this is a lot of fun. These 9 wonderful people you see up on stage, I think there's 9, yes there are. Eric, Sebastian, Darren, Stilgherrian, Patrick, Alex, Brad, Brian and Katie have each volunteered to speak 4 times in the next hour, as we have not 1, not 2, but 6 speed debates. Each person only gets 1 minute to speak, as much as I can accurately time that in the current sort of techno avalanche I'm dealing with at my end. So do me a favour, speakers, and don't faff on for too long if I forget to tell you your 1 minute is up. And these people might then, 2 minutes later, be debating alongside the people they were just ripping into on a completely different topic. So it's lots of fun. We've been doing it for a few years at AUSCERT, and it's always one of the highlights of the event. So the our speakers are all ready to go. The first topic is going to see Sebastian, Stilgherrian and Brad on the affirmative up against Eric, Darren and Patrick. And the topic is Cambridge Analytica did nothing wrong. Sebastian, over to you. Take it away.
That's it? I can go? Does the timer start?
Yes, fire. I would have started a timer at my end, mate. I don't know what's happening in front of you, but you fire away.
So Cambridge Analytica did nothing wrong, right? So who here has signed up for Facebook? Just quick Cool. Yeah. So why? Right? You've submitted your information and you've given it away. You have no right for privacy. You've given it to a third party. What did you expect? You're getting no service for free, right? So this has been happening since targeted advertisement has been happening forever, right? Like companies have been doing it since marketing exists. You want to target a specific demographic, so they've been accessing the right APIs. They've been following the rules that were set. Nobody's complained about that, right? So you've seen the status updates, right? I do not consent for Facebook to have access to my pictures and so on. You think that does it, right? So you'd expect that people should know better. And who the hell fills out a personality quiz anyway? Like, done.
Thank you very much, Sebastian. Give him a round of applause. I thankfully had someone telling me after they'd moved the robot, we've just moved the robot a little bit on stage because I was freaking out for a second there, but we're all good. Eric, on the negative, take it away, refuting that Cambridge Analytica did nothing wrong.
Thank you. So all I have to do to refute that statement is Cambridge Analytica did nothing wrong. All I have to do is prove that they did something wrong. One thing, and that's enough. And I've got a few examples, but I want you to forget about all of the obvious things. So ignore what they did with Facebook. Ignore what they did getting Trump in power. Ignore what they did with Brexit, or voting like eggface, as I like to call it. Ignore that they compromised the sanctity of democracy in Nigeria and Kenya and Brazil and China. Ignore that they probably had a dabbling in Boaty McBoatface. Look, who hasn't fiddled with an online election? I can't hold that against them. Ignore the fact that they were poisoned by their own dog food by giving an explanation to an undercover reporter on how to compromise people in order to undermine their reputation. And ignore the fact that they chose a company name that is an anagram of anal damage by critic.
That's 1 minute, Eric. Hurry up.
Oh, okay.
There you go. Well done, Eric. Gave us a lot of things to ignore there. You might want to pass on to your second speaker what you planned us to pay attention to. But there you go. Stilgherrian, take up for the affirmative, please.
Thank you, Your Honour. Not only did Cambridge Analytica do nothing wrong, they did us all a favour. They should be congratulated. Their work is a glorious example of the highest calling for any business, which is separating fools from their money. Now, look back at the Obama elections in 2008 and 2012. They were successful, and for the next 2 years after each, you go to any panel discussion about digital media and everyone would claim that they worked on that grassroots digital campaign and it was all down to them. I reckon about half the population of the United States worked on that campaign, which is to say twice as many as there are literate Americans. Now, this grassroots campaign worked by gathering intelligence, finding out people's preferences, targeting with messages, exactly what Cambridge Analytica did for Trump, except they did it without bothering to do it in a transparent process or with actual people. They just said they did it, they took shitloads of money for doing it, and no one knows whether it worked or not. Bravo, brilliant.
Thank you very much, Stilgherrian. Give him a round of applause. To take up the negative, a previous overall winner of the speed debate. Take it away, Darren Kitchen.
Thank you. And Adam, I'm going to take the opportunity to say you're looking quite fit today, even in robot form, and to compliment the MC for this moment. And I'm grateful that you're hosting this bit here and not sucking up in the least. So Cambridge Analytica, within the legal bounds of the API and the user license agreement, acquired the personal data of 87 million Facebook users. And when you really think about it, Facebook has what, 2.19 billion? So yes, they absolutely messed up. They only acquired 4%. I mean, with that, they could have dominated MySpace. Sadly, MySpace. That's my argument. Poor MySpace.
Thank you very much, Darren. Our final speaker for the affirmative is Brad.
How many people here have heard of the idiom, the phrase, never look a gift horse in the mouth? All right? It's a common phrase that means if you get something for free, don't question it. However, if somebody gave you an automobile for free, would you just hop into it, start riding it around everywhere, depend on taking your family on vacation in the car without looking at it and checking it and making very, very sure that it's actually doing what it's supposed to do and not doing something weird? So that's the mindset that we're in as a society, and we're thinking that it's okay to have free stuff, but it's not. So we shouldn't be lazy about that. I'll wrap up my argument by saying, oh, wait, I got a telephone call. Hold on. Yes? Okay, I'll tell them. The internet, before Facebook called, it wants its expectations of privacy back.
Thank you, Brad. That's end of the affirmative case, yes. Our final speaker for the negative on the topic Cambridge Analytica did nothing wrong, and then you, the audience, will be voting via the app. Take it away, Patrick.
Okay, so I know the speed debate is supposed to be all ha-ha and everything, but these people are monsters. Essentially what they did is they ran emotional profiling on individuals to find out what their deep-seated fears were, and then used that to construct content that was designed to emotionally manipulate them into a certain set of actions. It was like they created, it's like, no interruptions please, Stilgherrian, I expect 10 seconds to be added to my time. What they did is they basically created a personalised Fox News channel for every single Facebook user who they had information on, and I would happily stand here hand on heart and say, I think Fox News does plenty wrong as well. These people helped the Tangerine Man baby win by manipulation, pure and simple. And I think it's very hard to find an example of a bunch of people who you can point to and more clearly say they are awful monsters. The end.
Thank you very much, Patrick. Asked for 10 extra seconds, didn't even need it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, hop on the app right now. Vote. Cambridge Analytica did nothing wrong. Do you agree yes or no? Yes means you're voting for the affirmative. No means you're voting for the negative. Take it away.
Cambridge Analytica might be fiddling with this election as well.
Now, here we go. Good. I'm hoping that I can see these results somewhere. Right.
We won, Adam. It's tally it up for the negative, mate.
Okay, the negative. Did the negative win the debate? I am struggling.
Did nobody install the app because of privacy concerns? Is that what happened?
So, some team has won that debate. My way of being meant to be able to see that has not worked. So, can someone? Who did win?
Oh, come on. Come on, yes.
This is...
Yes. Rigged. Fake news. Rigged. It's the Russians.
It's Cambridge Analytica.
Okay, so I can't see those results despite my best efforts. So if someone could tell me who'd won, we're going to move on to the next topic.
Yes.
So the yes side won?
No side won. It was no.
Okay, so I'm going to stop you all here now and say for the nth time, where n is a significant integer, I can't see the results. Can someone please tell me who won?
The winner is no, Adam.
The negative team won. Congratulations, Eric, Darren and Patrick. Okay. Our next topic, we are amusing ourselves to death. We've got Sebastian up first affirmative again with Patrick and Brian, this time against Brad, Alex and Kate. We are amusing ourselves to death. Take it away, Sebastian.
I hate starting these things. I agree. I think Huxley had it totally right. I think we're being bombarded with things every single day. When you wake up, you've got, how many notifications do you wake up to? I don't know, it's too many for me. I get notifications for curated news now that contains something that is in my interest, you know? But it's pushing things away from what's really important, and it's not unbiased. It's biased towards me personally, right? And I think that that we have too many inputs right now. I can't decide what I want to do tonight. Do I want to watch Netflix, YouTube? Do I want to Hulu, Amazon Prime? We have too many options, and because we have that many options, we fail to pick up a book or fail to pick up an idea and properly get into it. I think, yeah.
The end.
Yeah, right.
Thank you very much.
Take that.
Sebastian. Brad, take it away on the negative, please, mate.
What, me?
What? Say it again. Who? Whose turn? We didn't hear whose turn it's supposed to be.
Sorry, it is Brad leading off for the negative. Take it away, Brad.
Yes. So we're not amusing ourselves to death. Let's make that perfectly clear. We're scaring ourselves to death. It really is, because for example, my favorite videos to watch on YouTube are Faces of Death. If anybody's familiar with that series of videos, it's gruesome decapitations and the ways that people die. We are all fascinated by tragedy and scaring ourselves, right? There are other websites that I'm also a fan of, but I can't really tell them in a public forum. However, let me conclude by saying, oh wait, I got another telephone call here. Hold on. Oh, it's that creepy Japanese girl from The Ring. She told me 7 days.
Okay, well, there you go, ladies. I really wish I'd been there for the last few days so I could have spent some time with Brad. He sounds lovely. Okay, Patrick, take it away for the negative, please.
Well, I agree with Sebastian in that, yeah, I mean, we do have so much content thrown at us over and over, and this has enabled a whole cottage industry of content creators to create more and more extreme stuff that, you know, sites like YouTube can send to us and people can share on Facebook. And these content creators are exploiting people's deep-seated fears to manipulate them into consuming more content. These people are monsters. These people helped the Tangerine Man Baby win the presidency of the United States. In other words, this phenomenon is how Donald Trump became president. That's the end.
Okay, there seems to be a theme here. Nothing if not consistent. For the negative, please take it away, Alex.
That's right. Basically the same points everyone else has made, to be honest with you. One thing, I think we're told constantly that we're apathetic consumers of information, and we're sitting there like the people in WALL-E, you know, just sitting there getting fed information and taking it in like that. One thing that I think that the Tangerine Man Baby and his monster mates made very clear was that we're actually ravenous consumers of information. People want to know things. They want to get out there and find things out. The problem is people are also friggin' stupid, and so they're being, you know, fed and manipulated by the information that they're seeking and being presented to them. So I think that, yes, definitely we're not apathetic, but I think in our constant quest for knowledge and wanting to know more about issues, we're easily manipulated by a certain point of view. So yeah, I think we're not really Aldous Huxley's lovely, relaxed world. It's crap. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alex. Give him a round of applause. I panicked there for a second, Alex, and I stopped. I don't know if I didn't restart my stopwatch and you only spoke for 40 seconds, or if I did restart my stopwatch and you spoke for a lot longer than a minute, in which case you're a naughty boy, but you got away with it. Brian, close this off with the affirmative, please.
You know what? You're claiming we don't live in Brave New World? I got news for you, buddy. We totally do. They were happy, healthy. They lived a long time. They were culturally adroit. They were tolerant, and they were awesome. People in 1984 were miserable, living in a scarcity mentality, going nowhere. Anyone who has read Steven Pinker's book, Enlightenment Now, knows that we are the most brilliant, long-lived generation in all of human history. Life expectancy, 1907, 46 years. 2007, 75 years. We're living longer. We're living happier, healthier lives. We didn't even have a happiness index back in the 19th century because they were too busy trying to walk around with donkeys and shit. Nowadays, we have so much luxury that we get to be alive. We're also getting smarter, the Flynn effect. They have to reset the IQ scale because we're getting so much sharper. We have so much free time. Turns out that when you're not arranging your daughter's funeral from cholera, you have time to dick around on Twitter.
Thank you very much. Gee, Brian's first contribution there, didn't he? Jump out of the gates. Okay. To close the debate for the negative, also her first speech this afternoon. Take it away, Katie.
Okay, so I was told that I was part of this debate earlier today, and as your average American who is ill-prepared, I got some liquid courage in me, and I'm going to settle this by brute force. You were for this argument, right? Yeah. All right, put them up. All right, ready? All right, 1, 2, 3. Let's go. Feel free to start anytime. Anytime you want to go. Yeah, I know, right? All right, so considering this is going really well and I've got some time to kill, I'm just going to sing my answer. My name is no. My sign is no. My number is no. You need to let it go. You need to let it go. Nah to the ah to the no, no, no. All right, that's it.
Great work, Katie. Nothing wrong with a little bit of Dutch courage there. Okay, let's go to our poll now. If you think the affirmative won and we are amusing ourselves to death, please vote yes. If you think no, please vote no. Take that poll now. Fire away.
As someone who used to work for a large telco, I can tell you from looking at proxy logs that a very large percentage of the population are indeed amusing themselves to death.
Okay, I'm currently seeing results of a strong swing towards yes at the moment. I'll give you another couple of seconds to put these last votes in. That's a significant margin. I'm going to call that a win to the affirmative. Congratulations, Sebastian. Congratulations, Patrick and Brian. Great stuff. Okay. Our third topic, that machine learning is the new alchemy. Stilgherrian, Darren and Katie will be on the affirmative. Eric, Brad and Brian will be on the negative. So take it away, Stilgherrian.
Thank you, my lord. Is machine learning the new alchemy? Well, I think we need to use machine learning to solve that question. And what is the most convenient machine learning to hand? The autocorrect on my phone. So, at the results of an experiment earlier, machine learning is a bit of a sook because people are into shit food and wine and food and wine and food and wine and food and wine and food and wine. Meanwhile, alchemy is defined as the first time in the next few weeks ago, and I will be in Ashfield from Sunday night and day out of the mountains ahead of the time, And to summarise, the new alchemy is the best way to get 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 the best way. I rest my case, my lord.
Thank you very much, Stilgherrian. Even by your standards, that was a little bit weird. I like it. Eric, take it away for the negative.
Is that me?
Yes, it is, Eric.
So machine learning, the new alchemy. So if what you mean by alchemy is the medieval practice of the transmutation of matter from base elements to gold, it was effectively medieval charlatanism, right? It was invented by Arthur Samuel in the 1956, I think, because he just wanted to play checkers against his own computer. So for want of sort of Minesweeper and Solitaire being installed on his computer, it came about by accident. We all know it's only as good as the training data, and as security people, we know that you don't rely on user input, which is what a lot of this training data essentially is. So really what I think machine learning is the new feck alchemy, which is the act of turning fecal matter into gold.
That's a lovely thought, Eric. Thank you very much. I'm learning something new every day. Darren Kitchen, take it away for the negative.
Thank you so much, Adam. You are looking quite great as a robot. I might say that, as we know it, machine learning really began in the 1950s. Whether you call it machine learning or artificial intelligence, neural networks, deep learning. I mean, it's all simply the natural evolution of computer science. It's not a revolutionary shift that came out of left field. I mean, sure, now since 2016, computers can beat humans and Go, but it wasn't but just 1997 that Deep Blue beat Garry Kasparov. And to be honest, the same year, Duke Nukem 3D bots were beating me. I rest my case.
Okay, for the negative, take it away, Brad.
Let's see, alchemy. Really, machine learning is just another buzzword that the media is using, and you know, I may end up sounding a little too serious for my own good here, but you know, it's a buzzword. It's magic. Okay, if we don't understand it, it's got some sort of mystical or magical connotation. That doesn't mean that there's nothing perfectly logical or reasonable about it, and by failing to educate ourselves on this, we're giving ourselves permission to be ignorant about it or to be dumb about it. There is nothing, absolutely nothing mysterious or wrong about machine learning. Oh, wait, I got another telephone call. Hello? Yeah, I'll let him know. That was Skynet. He wanted me to pass on, he or she wanted me to pass on that there is nothing, absolutely nothing mysterious about it at all.
Thank you very much, Brad. Big round of applause for Brad. I must admit, I did get a little bit distracted during that speaker, but I've got a perfect line of sight to the guy in the front row who's multitasking, both eating an ice cream and taking a photo at the same time. Well played, yellow. What a great day. Okay, thank you for that, Brad. To close off the speeches for the affirmative, Katie, all over to you.
Okay, so we are walking meat sacks of organic evolutionary bias. That's what we are. We're only here because our ancestors made the right call when they decided, do I eat it? Do I screw it? Do I run away from it? Or do I do all of those things, but just not necessarily in that order, maybe also kill it, right? So we pass this bias onto our algorithms, into our data sets. I mean, we've all heard the one about the algorithm that was trained on Caucasian hands for sensing soap dispensers, and actually it just wouldn't dispense soap for people of different... Okay, you see, that machine was after me. It was coming for me, and you can't deny it. So look, I think that's an automatic win for the AI. That robot was gunning for me, and you see, this is where we are right now. The correct pronunciation of AI should not be AI. It should be AI.
Thank you very much, Katie, you wonderful walking meat sack. I was just trying to turn my head a little bit there. I won't move at all anymore. If anyone wants to lock me, feel free, because I don't know how I'm meant to do that. Okay, our final speaker for the negative. Take it away, Brian.
This is an unfair mischaracterization. You're using alchemy like it's some kind of bad word. No, it's not alchemy. Good things came from alchemy. Distillation, sublimation, tools used in chemistry, all over the place. The method to create European porcelain came from alchemy. So I resent the very implication that there's anything wrong with alchemy. But machine learning is not alchemy, because there's one very big difference between a machine learning and alchemy. Alchemy set out to transmute boring old lead into gold, and it failed. That is the defining characteristic of alchemy. Couldn't make lead into gold. Machine learning, in my incognito browser at this moment, has spun boring old pornography into gold. Danielle Panabaker, Sarah Hyland, Denise Richards, Emma Watts. I'm actually looking at pornography live on stage. 2 words: deep fakes. Machine learning works. Alchemy didn't.
Okay, thank you very much, Brian. For all the historians, we have in the past spoken about pornography during these debates. I think it's the first time anyone's ever looked it up live during a debate. Well played, Brian. You've made a little bit of history there, my friend. Time now to vote. Machine learning is the new alchemy. Yes or no? You've got 20 seconds to tell me your thoughts. Oh, this is a nice close one. The nose edging in front. I'm seeing 42 to 26 now for no. I'll give you a few more seconds. 46 to 32. Still a few people undecided. 51-30. Well, that isn't that interesting. Almost exactly the same margin as the previous debate. 51-34. This is 51-33. 51-35. I'll lock it in there now as a victory to the negative. Congratulations, Brad, Eric, and Brian. Okay. Our next topic, your CPU cycles or your life. Crypto mining in the browser. Not actually sure if that's a topic or not, but we'll see how we go. Eric, Brad and Katie are on the affirmative. Sebastian, Patrick and Alex are on the negative. Take it away, Eric.
Okay. If you're like me, you're a security guy, you don't go near the web without a phalanx of prophylaxis of ad blockers and the like. So when I open a browser on a normie's machine, I have a conniption at the number of things that pop up in my face. Whilst we've been merrily blocking ads, the ad companies in desperation have turned themselves into a kind of Clippy the paperclip on speed. Hey, it looks like you're watching a video about some drunk guy who drove his car into somebody's house. Would you like to buy a Nissan X-Trail? So, I'm not a big fan of this. So, if the Daily Mail Online wants to cut a deal with me where they get to mine as much Monero in my browser in the time it takes me to click on one of their listicles and then click away, I think that, logistically speaking, the amount of money they can make in the time I click on one of their ads and then move away from it in my browser is a fair price to pay for the content they serve.
Okay, thank you very much, Eric. So, speaker for the negative, take it away, Sebastian.
So I really agree with you. I think, we all want ad blockers, and no, hold on. You made a really good point, but it's my point. So it's you made the point that there's not enough time, right? There's why bother mining currency in the browser, right? Why the currency changes every day? Like, what's the latest trend? You said Monero, it's Bitcoin, it's Ethereum. Who can keep track, right? What is it worth? It changes all the time. It's not a real way to get past advertising costs. And I think you have to find something completely different here, because crypto mining in your browser is not it. Wasting your resources is asinine. And find something else. And I don't know what it is. I'm not, I have an ad blocker. I don't want to see any of that. I don't want malware served to me all the time. So I don't want crypto mining skits either. Yeah. So no.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sebastian. Brad, over to you, my friend.
All right.
Brad, over to you.
Thank you. How many people would mind if the malware authors who are trying to coin mine in your browser instead decided to set the browser up to help with SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence? Would that really bother you? Yeah, well, then why should it be any bother if somebody's actually mining coin in your browser and actually doing some good, as opposed to trying to contact some evil alien intelligence that's going to take us over here in the next 20 years? Oh man, I got to tell you. That's right. I have a feeling a telephone call is coming up here. But in conclusion, I just want to say, oh wait, there is a telephone coming up here. Hello. Oh, my resources have maxed out. It turns out I'm coin mining in my browser.
Thank you very much, Brad. For 4 topics, 4 phone calls. I love your work. Okay, Patrick, for the negative, take it away.
So let me get this straight. You want to burn CPU cycles, which is an incredibly energy-intensive thing, to create cryptocurrency. I mean, the primary purpose of cryptocurrency seems to be buying heroin and dodging anti-money laundering legislation. I mean, that's the whole point of this stuff, right? So you want to destroy the planet to enable like heroin dealers and international drug cartels. That's a great idea. Fantastic. I don't know what you're smoking, people on the other side of this one, but I will take 2 ounces and I'll happily pay in crypto. And I have one other thing to add on this. I just think the crypto mining in the browser thing, just on energy grounds alone, is just a terrible, terrible idea. And this is the sort of stupid idea that enabled someone like Donald J. Trump to become the president of the United States. And that's just the tangerine man baby in the White House. It's a terrible state of affairs, and crypto mining, it's all related. You just have to,
Thank you very much, Patrick. Look, Patrick, to save yourself time in the future, just say the word tangerine, and we'll assume it means there's a tangerine man baby in the White House. Got yourself a few extra seconds to argue. Close this off for the affirmative now, please. Over to you, Katie.
All right. Well, ads and ad targeting are exactly what made Google, Facebook, and all of these other ad-driven megaliths exactly what they are, the super privacy-invadey, creepy, tracky, listen to your microphone-y megaliths that they are. And that was all based on the business model that they needed to sell targeted ads. So why wouldn't we want a different business model than simply mining our data and profiting off of our subconscious and our connections and our humanity, right? Consent is really key in all things, right? Consent is key. And even though now we're getting pop-up notices saying our privacy policy has changed, to try and drive that consent-driven approach, the fact of the matter is, why wouldn't we want to just consent to the use of our spare cycles of our CPUs? It's a much more straightforward way for an organization to do business and generate revenue rather than targeting ads. It might actually make the services we want to use stop using us.
Thank you very much, Katie. That's the end of the affirmative argument. Well done. To close off the debate, for the negative, take it away, Alex.
I feel like we've made a deal, right? Like, I'll go to your crap website and I'll look at those banner ads for boner pills and then I'll go on with my day. I feel like that's the deal, right? I'll look at your ads and then I'll go on with my day. I like the idea that my browser is mine and I don't want your crappy JavaScript running in the back end of it and mining and using my power. The other thing that I think about is that I don't want, my time that I have to look at that Kardashian story and then click off that onto, like /r/goats on horses or something like that. That's about 4 seconds. That's a real subreddit. It's pictures of goats sitting on the back of horses. It's awesome. I really think you should check it out. I've got about 4 seconds of attention span, so it's not going to work for you anyway. The other thing is, as Patrick said, I like the idea of my browser being used to mine medical things. I don't know what that means, because I'm not a medical person, but if we're going to do this, let's use it for some good, not so that I can make some magic maths money so you can buy some ketamine off some dodgy vet from San Diego on the dark web.
Hook me up.
I will.
Okay, thank you very much, Alex. In the time there, I did have a quick look. Those goats on horses are fascinating, aren't they? They're fantastic. Okay, time now to vote. Go to your app. Do you agree with the affirmative or the negative? Yes or no for this debate? Vote away.
Wow.
Whoa. The no's have shot out to a quick lead here. Yes is going to have to
Nailed it.
really... There we are. Okay, we might call the mercy rule on that one. That is a very strong win to the nose. Congratulations, Sebastian, Patrick, and Alex. Okay. God, oh dear, that was almost ugly to watch, that voting. Topic number 5. China has it right. Social ranking is the future. Sebastian, Stilg, and Alex will take on Eric, Darren, and Brian. Take it away, Sebastian.
Seriously, why am I starting these? All right, so social ranking. Who here has seen the Black Mirror episode that was kind of like, you had 0 to 5 points? Yeah. So it's a score out of like, I guess, 999, which I think is a bit better. You've got fine-grained control over who you want to hang out with and who you want to ride on the subway with and who gets to, travel first class and so on. So that's nice. And why should the children of, 400ers, if you're a 600er, do you really want to have your kids go to the same school as a 400er? Like, is that what you want, So I think this is a really good system to just kind of separate people out a bit, Right now it's money, it's the social status, right? It's the I am kidding, by the way, hopefully everyone knows that. But no, hopefully there's a good way to do this, right? And you don't want to swim in a pool with the other people. You don't want to have dinner next to people. You don't want to have to wait in line at an airport, right? You depending on your status, you just walk through. I like that.
Thank you, Sebastian. Okay, leading off with the negative. Take it away, Eric.
Okay, so for the record, I think any government policy that's based on an episode of Black Mirror is a bad idea. Also, I think there was, ever since Moses came down from the mountain with stone tablets, the idea of trying to socially engineer people to be better people has not really worked out well. Also, if we're going to think about the idea of using social status, we should look at the people we've bestowed social ranking upon. So do you really want to live in a world that will be inherited by the likes of PewDiePie or Kanye and his wife? Or Instagram influencers? And what do you call those really awful people on LinkedIn that like everybody, that just open their network to everyone, recruiters? I'd like me and my 37 Twitter followers to vote against this, please.
Thank you, Eric. Stilgherrian, take it away for the affirmative.
Thank you, Your Majesty. Please raise your hand in the audience if you had to fly to get to this event. Okay, keep your hand up if you flew economy. Yeah, that's a significant number of people, okay? So what was that like? What was the person like who sat next to you? Did you judge them? Of course you fucking did. I mean, we judge everyone's sledge panelist. Oh, hang on, that's an instruction to me. Take it as read. China, through its system, has already stopped 9 million passengers from even getting on the aircraft. We can do better than that. We need to tighten up this system, not just on aircraft, but think about aircraft, right? Even before you take off, there are people who can't find their seats because they haven't mastered the basic art of numbers. Then they brought in, right, a giant bloody suitcase that's bigger than Venezuela, which has everything in it that they don't need for the flight because it's only a 45 fucking minute flight, and they're trying to jam it. It can't go into any overhead bin. It has to go into the one directly next to their seat no matter what else is there. And then they finally sit down and can't find their seatbelt, and they sit on yours, and then you come in, and then they have to get up, and you sit down, and they get up, and you're kind of getting ready to fly. But then they think, fuck, I haven't got my book to read. So they get up again and they take the fucking suitcase down again. And then they're opening that up, and of course they drop all their dirty fucking socks on you.
Okay,
right?
Stilg, I'm going to stop you there.
No, sorry,
Stilg,
no, Adam, I've only just begun. We haven't even got into the air yet.
You've been going for a minute and a half. It was a therapy session. I thought I could let it go and run its full thing,
No,
but I charged.
they elbow you in the ribs.
I charged by the hour, Stilgherrian.
Stilgherrian,
order.
It's too warm. They're up to get it. What?
Order.
Sorry, Your Majesty.
That's all right. I'd come over and slap you with this robot, but the last time I tried that, I fell over. Okay, for the negative. Darren, take it away.
Thank you so much, Adam. And I must say that even as a robot, you fall with such grace. You see, the problem with China's social ranking system is that it is limited to just ranking your standing and interactions with society, both online and offline, right? If this world is ever going to achieve its inevitable overarching dystopian overlord in any semblance of a timely manner, we are going to need to look past mere social data points to rank and distinguish between the elite and the unwashed masses. You know, China is not doing enough for the rest of the world. It is not enough to merely rank by social data points and ignore the much more valuable personal and private thoughts, whether fleeting musings or unrealized intentions of us as individuals. It is not until the thought police can be truly realized that we will have the facilities to oppress the human race to complete efficiency.
I love a man with a bit of vision. Thank you very much, Darren. Okay, Alex, wrapping it up with a negative. Take it away.
I'm so for this. I think that it should be punitive. I think if you think about it, how many times have you scrolled past that second cousin's vaguely racist post about how Tony was the best PM Australia ever had and just wish that you could sort him out? And I'm not talking about sending like Crusher and Ice Pick over to his house for a little attitude adjustment.
Downvote his life.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, right? You've read my thing.
I didn't.
So, pardon me, regather yourself. But all of a sudden, like after his fifth post about how we shouldn't forget men have rights too in this whole Me Too nonsense, he's all of a sudden getting a tax audit. He's getting the middle seat on long-term flights. He's getting served last in pubs, really affecting the prick's life. I think people put so much attention and focus into their social media that it's become part of an extension on their real life, and it really, really needs to have punishment when they go against societal norms. But how do you figure out what the societal norms are? I say Reddit, upvotes, downvotes, brigade people's lives, and let the Russian bots set the... I've got a phone call coming in. Let the Russian bots set the norms.
Thank you very much, Alex. That's the end of the affirmative argument. Our final speaker for the negative, Brian.
Man, I feel like a sucker. I'm the only one who took this one seriously. Because truthfully, it's not a bad system if you believe that you're born as a robot, trapped by your own programming, cast in a mold and unchanging for the rest of your life. But of course, that's not how we exist. We exist as living, breathing animals. We exist as feedback loops. Who we are determines what we do, determines who we are. And when you inject a label in there, you unfairly shape the future of that person. Somebody who gets a black mark early on just goes farther and farther to the fringes. Plus, it doesn't even measure pro-social behavior. It doesn't measure pro-social behavior. It measures compliance. And all you have to do is have money. If you want a better social ranking, you hire someone to go buy diapers so it looks like you're a parent, a responsible citizen. If you want to play games, you do it under somebody else's account. All this does is separate your public face from your private space, and the internet has done so much to break that down that it would be a real shame to see that go away.
Okay, thank you very much, Brian. There you go. The topic is China has it right. Social ranking is the future. Your turn now to vote yes or no.
As you're voting, keep this in mind. If there was a good established social system, if you're going into the restroom and the urinals are nearly full, you would know exactly who to stand by so you feel less socially awkward. I'm putting this forward for a friend.
And then there are the people like who take their shoes off on the plane, right?
Okay, still,
and
let it go.
And like they are just impossible. You're sitting there like a 15-hour flight across the Pacific, and there's someone who's there stenching feet and that. What's that stuff that you get under toenails, Adam? It's got a name.
Okay, still, you've lost the debate. The tribe have spoken. You're gone, my friend. I'm sorry. The negative of one, Eric, Darren, and Brian. Okay, our final topic for today. 20 years of vulnerability disclosures. Nailed it. Still, Patrick and Brian against Darren, Alex, and Katie. I'm scared to say it, but over to you, please, to start us off, Stilgherrian.
Thank you, Sweetie Buns Flirt Bunny. I should be so lucky. I should be so lucky in love. 20 years ago, folks, 1998. Here's a bit of a refresher. That's Kylie Minogue. What about Don't Worry, ooh, be happy? Bobby McFerrin, Don't Worry, be happy. And When Will I Be Famous? From Bros. That was the situation 20 years ago. We also had some tragic events. Theodore Kaczynski, unfortunately, the Unabomber, was found guilty. Well, he pleaded guilty and took a life sentence. The German Red Army faction, which was created in 1970, finally dissolved in 1988. Titanic became the first movie to gross $1 billion and won 11 Oscars. We have certainly improved everything since then. Thank you.
Thank you, Stilgherrian. I will point out Bros was from 1988. That's 30 years ago, but don't let that into the way of good argument. Okay, take it away for the negative. Darren.
All right. So 20 years of vulnerability disclosure. Did we nail it? No! Dickhead disclosure. It'll always have its place. I mean, the industry may have matured out of the scene while you and I continue to get older and more mature. But as that happens, there are dozens of 1337 high schooler script kiddies getting into H4X every minute. So don't delude yourself that somehow responsibility is going to trickle down somehow to the next generation. No, the anarchist cookbook will always be in print. Making pipe bombs out of toilet bowl cleaner will always be a pastime. This might be an American thing. I'm not really sure that one translates. But listen, doing it for the lulz and stunt hacking, that is always going to be perfectly reasonable, backing up for any sort of portion of this society, or at least as the incident responders among us would wish to hope if we were to continue to be gainfully employed.
Thank you very much, Darren. Okay, for the negative, over to you, Patrick.
All right, wow, there we go. Look, I mean, you've got to sort of reject the premise of this question, which is slanted. Nailed it. Nailed what? I think what they're trying to say is that, vulnerability disclosure didn't solve a lot of problems, but I would say whoever wrote that question might not have been around 20 years ago because it solved an awful lot of questions. Who likes automatic operating system updates? yeah, a few hands going up, right? Because the reason they exist is because of that disclosure storm 20 years ago. It really brought forward the timeline on a lot of the innovations. We've got entire industries around disclosure now. We've got one of our panelists here who works in the disclosure game around bug bounties. We've got multiple funded companies who do this sort of stuff. So, okay, it's great to write a snarky question, but imagine what the world would look like without this whole process of disclosure. It would be terrible. And, I would argue, too, that the only reason Donald Trump is the President of the United States is that we didn't engage more with this type of thinking.
Thank you very much, Patrick. I presume he's the Tangerine Man baby in the White House. Take it away, Alex.
Okay. Well, yes. I think there is no way in hell that we've done this. I think that disclosure is very different these days. I think back to the old days where some dude would find a vulnerability in some dude's software. He'd email him, say, hey man, you got a buffer overflow in that, could you fix it? They'd have a bit of a chat, fix it, post it to full disclosure, be a rock star for 2 days, everyone goes on with their life. What's changed now is the money. Right? There's money in this stuff now. And now there's marketing teams, there's PR firms, there's legal gets involved. To do a disclosure now is a minefield. I've helped several people do disclosures to places that maybe would have had a really bad outcome if they had have gone public with their disclosures. You might have helped with those, yes. To try and get people to do disclosure properly. But because everyone now is terrified of losing money. They're investors, they've got shareholders, they've got all kinds of responsibilities. So gone are the days where you could just deal with the guy directly to get this thing done. Now we've made it a lot harder for ourselves. And because we've made it so hard, what have we done? Well, we brought in bug bounties. We've brought in things that are going to give you money for your disclosures to the company themselves. So I think rather than going with ego, we've gone with cash. I think ego is a better way to do it.
Thank you very much, Alex. Okay, our final speaker for the debate today, for the affirmative, Brian Brushwood. Take it away, Brian.
Disclosures. What are they? How do they work? I eat fire for a living. And I stick nails in my eyes. Well, there is one thing I know. People. When I look out in this audience, I see a lot of people. Hard-working people. People who speak from the heart. And think also from their heart. This is my wife, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a round of applause. A curious thing happened. We have a 14-year-old daughter, and we were rooting around through her laptop. She's got a laptop. Don't worry about it. We found a hidden directory. We couldn't believe it. We found something labeled S&M hardcore pornography in our 14-year-old daughter's computer. We said, what are we going to do? And we went looking through the pictures, and it was horrific stuff. Hardcore S&M pornography. And I turned to my wife, and I said, well, what are we going to do? And she says, well, we can't spank her.
Thank you very much, Brian. Okay, our final speaker for today, for the speed debate for 2018. Take it away, Katie.
Alrighty, so number one, it's coordinated, not responsible. Seriously, guys, I worked on the ISO standards and I got them to change the word responsible disclosure in the actual international standards from responsible to, well, actually no adjective because it's really hard to define an adjective in ISO standards. It takes 10 years. But as the creator of Symantec vulnerability research, Microsoft vulnerability research, I will tell you it's coordinated, not responsible. Number two, we have this solved no. 94% of the Forbes Global 2000 have no way to report a security vulnerability to them. Do we think we have this problem solved when they spend tons of money on security and yet they can't even open up a front door and a decent way to, if you see something, say something? No. And then finally, reasonable people will disagree on the best way to protect users. When you've got Google and Microsoft having a monkey feces fight with each other around disclosure and one of them dropping OD on the other, absolutely, we do not have this problem solved forever. When the Titans stop duking it out, when there's legal safe harbor for security research, then and only then will we have nailed coordinated vulnerability disclosure.
Thank you very much, Katie. Give her a round of applause. That's the final speaker for the negative in our final debate tonight. 20 years of vulnerability disclosures, nailed it. Give us a vote, yes or no? All no's off to a quick start here. All no's crushing it in the moment.
While you're voting,
this is ugly to watch.
Yeah, excuse me, Adam, but while you're voting, I'd just like to point out that Kylie Minogue from 1988 instead of 1998 was not the only data point from the wrong year. In fact, everything I said was from 1988 instead of 1998, which I think only goes to prove my point.
I got a telephone call.
I would keep in mind too that if you are voting yes on this one, you are tacitly endorsing the Trump administration. I'm waiting for those numbers to change. It's been a winning strategy so far.
Oh, wait a minute. Yes. Oh, thank you. It's the AUSCERT. They're telling me I have 43 vulnerabilities, and I'm not a complete idiot, so I can take care of it.
Okay, there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been run and won for 2018. We had 6 topics. Now, I always kept a little running chart of how well people have gone across the 6 topics. This year, for the first time, we have a tied result for the first time in quite a while. I'll get to that in a second. Katie won one debate, as did Brad. Give them both a round of applause. Sebastian and Alex picked up 2 victories. Well done to them. Eric, Darren, Patrick and Brian all picked up 3 wins. Congratulations to them. And the only unique data point, the only contributor to these debates who scored a score that no one else scored, on 0. Congratulations, Stilgherrian. Guys, thank you so much for letting me be part of this, and it's also thanks to the good people at Drive Robotics that it was possible. I'll hand you over now to David Stockdale from AUSCERT to close out the conference. Have a great one. I hope to see you next year.
Well, thank you very much to Adam for stepping into this to that role. It was a really interesting way to see you. Thank you very much, and thanks very much to the panel as well. It was very entertaining.
What the hell just happened? I heard this.
You're still jet lagged. You're okay. Don't worry. All right. So, what a great conference it's been. I mean, it's my second conference. It's been better than the last one. I'm expecting it to keep on going up every year, right from the keynotes right through to the speed debate. I'd like to especially thank the keynotes. Quite a few of them are actually at the table here. It's been excellent, but to all the speakers as well. I'd like to thank Darren for hosting most of the time, for emceeing. And also for Brian for entertaining very, very superbly yesterday. Thank you. Thank you to all our sponsors. As I say, this doesn't happen with our sponsors. And thank you to Julie and the GEMS team, who are our conference organisers, and also to the Marriott Hotel. I'd like to take a special opportunity to thank the AUSCERT team. Not only do they come to the conference and they stand at the booth and they talk to you and do all that, but they're actually doing their day jobs as well at the same time. So they're protecting us, they're getting all that information out. If there's any incidents, they're responding to that. So they all come here and they still do the day job. So thank you very much to the team. I'd like to say a really special thank you to Beck out of the team. And I think Beck's she's over there. Please, Beck, stand up, just this once. Please. Actually, you're a marvel for bringing this together. You really are. And finally, I'd like to, as Darren said earlier, we are going to be here next year. We're going to be in the Gold Coast next year for AUSCERT 2019. So I'm not sure exactly the date, but we're going to be back, so it'll be great. Thank you for attending. Have a safe journey home and stay secure. Thank you.
Looking for an empty space.